It's time for a new Unmatched ladder season, so let's see which fighters we've got. So for those of you that aren't familiar with it, the Unmatched ladder is a competitive setup where you can kind of play games at your own pace and play as many of them as you want to, just working your way up from like bronze, silver, gold, hero, and legend. In every season, there will be 10 different fighters that will be part of the season and 5 different maps. That lets us keep everything kind of shaken up and different and allows us to have different and unique matchups and not just following into the same rut of the same old fighters every time we play. If you're interested in playing in this, you can find your way to UMLeague.net and also to the UMLeague Discord, where you can get set up to be able to go from there. And of course, the Restoration Games Discord server is another great way to find players and stay up to date on what's happening in the Unmatched world. So let's go ahead and get going for our fighter reveal for the Unmatched Ladder Season 4. So we're going to get into the reveal. I've got all these character cards here. Flip these over and see who all we have in this season's ladder. And so to start off this ladder, we are going to go with the 2 fighters that everyone knew was going to be in this ladder, the 2 newest fighters in Unmatched, and that will be Dr. Sadler and the T-Rex. I know that everyone is excited to get some play time with these fighters in here and to get a chance to try them against some other fighters. So to complement these 2, there are 2 others that will be coming up next, and that will be Engine and the Raptors. So we have here in this ladder the full Jurassic Park experience. Coming up next is a fighter that is very popular. He is always a fun fighter to play and always a fun one to see included in these ladders, and that is Bruce Lee. Next up, we will have 2 Marvel fighters that will be returning. We will give them a chance to stack up against some of these others. That will be Bullseye and Moon Knight. And don't think that we've left the public domain fighters out of all of this. We do have a few here for you with Beowulf and Alice. And lastly, we have a special fighter here. So we did something new on this ladder. There was a poll where you would be able to vote on which fighter you wanted to see included in this ladder. And the winner of that poll was going to be declared the People's Champion. And the People's Champion is here today. And that champion is none other than Deadpool. Now, in addition to these 10 fighters that have been selected here, there are, of course, 5 maps that will be chosen. One of those maps that we'll start with will be the T-Rex paddock, which is the new map from the Dr. Sadler and T-Rex set. To go ahead and complete the Jurassic Park theme here, we are also going to include the Raptor paddock. And while we are on the theme of maps that have unique mechanics on them, we will throw in Baskerville Manor, as well as Hell's Kitchen, which will be making a return. And lastly, a good old classic, one of the favorites, Sarpedon. And so how do I think each of these fighters is going to do? Well, let's take a look at all of them. So we'll start with T-Rex, and so before we get into looking a whole lot at the T-Rex, we'll talk about the T-Rex being large and having 2 spaces that she can take up. The tournament organizers have supplied some boards that have symbols on them that will show us where the T-Rex can span spaces and where she cannot, and so that'll be very important for you to play with in TTS and Vorpal, as you're not going to be able to assure that the T-Rex is sized properly otherwise. I think that the T-Rex kind of is a character that can always manage to get through there and beat anybody, but she definitely has her downsides. She does have 2 maps of note, and that is going to be the Raptor paddock, where the T-Rex does not have to follow the one-way spaces because she can ignore those, and Baskerville Manor, where the T-Rex cannot use the secret passages. So that will be an interesting thing for her. This is going to be something that will really put Dr. Sadler through the test. Dr. Sadler has looked very strong so far with her insight tokens and her healing based off of that, really just being able to make her stay around a long time, because she can be much more than just that 13 health that she has there. We will put her up against a bunch of others and see how she does. Muldoon is always a tricky fighter to play. He has a lot of stuff concerning positioning and when and where you need to place traps that always makes him a bit more of a puzzle to figure out, and can be very interesting for him. The Raptors, I feel, are very much like the T-Rex, that they can very quickly go in and dominate a game and just take somebody down. But also they have some downsides from their low defenses. And we get to see how our dinos fare against each other as well. Bruce Lee is always a very powerful fighter, being able to just continue going on for so long. Although we do have some fighters like Alice who can make it a very interesting game against him. Bullseye and Moon Knight, of course, are both fairly new to the meta here, and this once again will give us a chance to see how well they can do against some other great fighters. Beowulf and Alice are both just solid kind of mid-tier fighters there. We can see how well they can do against some of these other ones here, and there'll be a good test to some of these new fighters over here to see how they do against some of just your regular unmatched fighters. And Deadpool, of course, is his own crazy thing here, because yeah, what else would Deadpool be? We do have to address that we are using a particular subset of rules here to make sure that Deadpool is played consistently. The Deadpool assets, or the Deadpool substitute that will be included, will have which ways the effects go, but in general, Deadpool gets all of his effects from the non-game related nonsense effects. I don't know if we have anyone named Logan playing in this, but we are not going to be paying attention to the second part of Deadpool's ability there. Sorry, Wade, you just don't get to do that. And we have things like a yellowish zone, just meaning moving into any space, and some things concerning the Holy Mackerel card. But the last time Deadpool was in one of the ladders, it was in ladder 1.5, which was the April Fool's thing, where he was not paired up against a lot of really serious fighters. Here now, though, we have a chance to see him against some of these others, and this will be a chance to get Deadpool out here and get him really run through the paces here and see what he can actually do. So we have our fighter lineup for this season. Which fighter do you think is going to be the best? Which one are you the most excited about? Which one are you going to be playing? Make sure that you get signed up for this so that you can be a part of it. You could go down into the comments section and let everyone know here what you think about this ladder season. Make your predictions down there, and at the end of the season we can look and see how you did.